A very good morning to one and all present here. I am Mahati Arkanath, student of first year MBA under Bangalore University program. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to everyone present here to this wonderful program. I now request all the dignitaries to come over the dais. We are honored to have you all with us today. It's a mark of our tradition to invoke the Almighty before beginning any auspicious program. I would like to take this wonderful opportunity to render an invocation song. Shri Ganesha kande ninna kamaladangriya, Iga palisenage neene manada bhishta siddhiya. Shri Ganesha kande ninna kamaladangriya. Chandra Suryanante mereva kaya kantiya, Akhandaladi Brahma Vishnu pujitangriya. Chandra Suryanante mereva kaya kantiya, Akhandaladi Brahma Vishnu pujitangriya. Sondilinda meluva panchabhaksharashiya, Sondilinda meluva panchabhaksharashiya. Khandi siddha ikshu kadale modaka priya, Khandi siddha ikshu kadale modaka priya. Shri Ganesha kande ninna kamaladangriya. ಭಾರಿ ಪುರುಷ ಇಲಿಯ ನೇರೆ ನಿಖಿಲ ಗೈಯುವ, ತೋರ ಕರದಿ ಪಿಡಿದು ಬರುವ ಭಕ್ತರ ವಿಘ್ನವ. ಭಾರಿ ಪುರುಷ ಇಲಿಯ ನೇರೆ ನಿಖಿಲ ಗೈಯುವ, ತೋರ ಕರದಿ ಪಿಡಿದು ಬರುವ ಭಕ್ತರ ವಿಘ್ನವ. ಚಾರಿವರಿತು ತರಿದು ತರಿದು ಓರೆ ಮಾಡುವ, ಚಾರಿವರಿತು ತರಿದು ತರಿದು ಓರೆ ಮಾಡುವ. ಧೀರ ವಿಘ್ನ ರಾಜ ಗೆಳೆಯ ಕಾಣೆ ಪೋಲುವ, ಧೀರ ವಿಘ್ನ ರಾಜ ಗೆಳೆಯ ಕಾಣೆ ಪೋಲುವ. ಶ್ರೀ ಗಣೇಶ ಕಂಡೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಮಲದಂಗ್ರಿಯ, ಈಗ ಪಾಲಿಸೆನಗೆ ನೀನೆ ಮನದ ಭೀಷ್ಟ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ, ಮನದ ಭೀಷ್ಟ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ, ಮನದ ಭೀಷ್ಟ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. Now, I invite Dr. B.R. Venkatesh Sir, Professor and Director of MBA under Bangalore University program, to welcome the gathering and to introduce our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Swamiji.
Ellaru namaskara. Very good morning to all of you. In fact, today I find it my great privilege in order to be here delivering a brief welcome address. Before getting into the nitty-gritties of the welcome address, and today's topic, as you're already aware, managing the mind menace. What is there to manage? What is your mind? What is that menace all about? My friends, let me tell you, in one of the Guru Stotra's shlokas, it is said, Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We need not go for detailed explanations or definitions of Guru. The letter Gu means darkness. Ru means remover. The remover of darkness is nobody but Guru. And we do say so, he is also compared to the Lord's sun. With the early morning dawn's rays of sun, the utter and the entire darkness on this planet Earth vanishes in just a few seconds. That is how, whenever there is the grace of Guru, he can destroy the complete ignorance or knowledgelessness of all of us. That's why we always say, I surrender to Shri Guru. Then what is this mind all about? Now let me tell you, I don't call you today as my dear students. I call you all my dear minds. Why am I calling so? You are just your mind. Swamiji is just his mind. Our secretary Sri Gali Swami is his mind. I am my mind. What do I mean? After the completion of your graduation, you took the decision. Rather, your mind took the decision in order to get into MBA or maybe MCA or MCOM, and you're in here. The minds of the parents of today's chief guest or the speaker, Sri Radheshyam Swamiji, his parents' mind permitted them to permit him to get into ISKCON, and that's why he is shedding his true light of knowledge on all of us here. Don't you think so? It is the minds of his parents. In fact, the very cause of this particular program today, the cause was originated in the mind of Dr. Rani, who was also a dental surgeon in our Dayananda Sagar institutions early. She has come over here. Her mind was the root cause for this particular program today. I have been interacting and coordinating with Sri Suvarna Gaur Haridas ji. His mind made him coordinate with all of us in order to have the program today. So it is his mind. And you also look at the other side, the mind of the great warrior of Mahabharata, Duryodhana. The mind did not permit him to give away even small, tiny 5 villages to Pandavas that became the root cause for the great war of Mahabharata. The mind of Ravana got into the field of lust on Sita, and that became the root cause for Ramayana, Rama versus Ravana Yuddha. Anything and everything starts in the mind. Take the latest example. The mind of Putin, president of Russia, didn't want to continue the negotiations, or he didn't want to go for detailed negotiations with Ukraine, and today we are facing Russian military invasion on Ukraine. You take any examples, it is mind, and the only thing that is mind. If you want to catch up the right track and become a great person like Shri Abdul Kalam ji, if one wants to track an ugly route and become Bin Laden, mind is the reason. From anything to everything, from the positive peak to the deepest nadir, mind is the cause. And it keeps wavering. It keeps wandering. How can I manage my mind? There is an excellent saying in English. You manage your mind, you are managing yourself. You manage yourself, you have managed your world. I just take a very simple stanza which has been rendered at the lotus feet of Guru. It says, Chanchalamana venadu nischalagoli sayya Ninni padangalali manaviriso guruve. Chanchalamana venadu. My mind is so chanchal, so wandering. Nischalagoli sayya. Make it stable, make it still. Ninni padangalali. At your lotus feet, let it stay, live forever, eternal peace, still. That's what we speak all about. Whether it is Hindu's culture or Islamic religion or Christianity, whatever it is, everything says, finally, it is the mind which is the origin for good, bad, ugly, excellent, and any emotions. So that being the case, my dear friends, and especially in today's generation, of course, with this, we are not excluding probably the so-called little elder generation like ours. Everything is in the mind. We will have to manage our mind well. So that being the case, this has been very well thought out program, managing the mind menace, and our Sri Swamiji, Radheshyam Dasji, who is the president of ISKCON Pune, he has consented to deliver today's address to all of us. I am very sure and confident that we will be having quite a good number of fantastic takeaways by the end of the seminar. So, that being the case, I have taken this opportunity to give a brief introductory note on what is mind and why we will have to manage the mind. With these few words, I take this great opportunity to welcome Shri Radheshyamji Swamiji to this particular program and request him to address little later. Our token of affection with a bouquet of flowers. I request our secretary to hand over the bouquet to a big round of applause, please. Also in the August gathering, we do have Shri Narahari Chaitanya Prabhu, who is the president of ISKCON temple, which is coming up in our ISRO layout, very close by, neighboring. I request Dr. Nagaraj Shanai to hand over the bouquet of flowers as a token of our affection, please. Definitely, I do welcome with a lot of love, affection, and passionately calling our Shri Gali Swamiji as Bhishma Pitamaha and the founding pillar of our Dayananda Sagar institutions with a bouquet of flowers handed over by Professor Hemant Tupala. I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. Nagaraj Shanai, of our Dayananda Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Bouquet handed over by Professor Hemant Tupala. It is my turn, who has been continuously and constantly supporting all these wonderful endeavors, Professor Hemant Tupala. Sir, I do welcome you, sir. Now let me tell you, my dear friends, there are quite a good number of volunteers from ISKCON temples, and Dr. Rani, who has been the backbone or brainchild for this particular program, I do welcome her and all the volunteers who have come from ISKCON temple for arranging this wonderful program. Welcome to you, sir. I request our student to kindly hand over the bouquet. Ma'am, Dr. Rani, can you please come over to the stage? Please do come. Give her a big round of applause. Without her, this program won't have happened today. Now it is my definite turn to welcome all the young, dynamic, energetic minds who all have gathered here to this program in order to take away a good number of valued takeaways from here. Welcoming you all again, I definitely call for a big round of applause from your own side for yourselves. Now, having taken these few moments, it is my responsibility or duty to introduce our chief guest, His Grace Radheshyam Dasji, who is an MTech from IIT Mumbai, a very knowledgeable, a technocrat fundamentally. Dear students, Shri Radheshyam Dasji, he is an IIT Mumbai topper, president of ISKCON Pune for the last 22 years, leading a community of 6,000 members. He is the director of a youth club named Voice, Vedic Voices for Inspiration, Culture and Education. He is a compiler of youth books like Stress to Smile. Look at the beautiful title, Stress to Smile. Art of Smart Work, Art of Harnessing Mind Power, Practical Tips to Mind Control, 5-volume series on science and spirituality, and many more. Global Excellence Award winner for educating the youth. Jiva Goswami Award winner for innovative youth outreach. GDO, Global Duty Officer for Youth Outreach, visiting Boston and other places in United States of America for 2 months every year. Please note down, 2 months every year. Youth trainer in the last 25 years in all leading institutes of technologies, NITs and others, and reaches out to Pune, Kolkata, Kanpur, Mumbai, Thane, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Dharwad, Belgaum, Mysore, and many other places. He has presented a good number of seminars at MIT Boston, Stanford University, University of Washington, Cornell University, etc. Corporate seminar presenter at one of the most loved corporates like Amazon, Bank of America, Infosys, Deutsche Bank, Cognizant, Persistent. www.leadersvoiceindia.com, www.radheshyamdas.com are the popular and well-known websites which you are supposed to go through and drill through. Youth YouTube channel Radheshyam Das Devotional Videos, www.youtube.com/channel/ There are plenty of things to know about him, and he is going to deliver his wonderful address to all of us on managing the mind menace. Now, let us all open our antennas, so to see, ears and eyes, and listen to him and get the best out of his address. A big, great round of applause to Radheshyam Swamiji. Thank you very much. Over to the anchor, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a warm welcome and a captivating introduction. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this insightful program. A warm welcome to you, sir. I kindly invite Sri Gali Swami, sir, founding pillar and secretary of Dayananda Sagar institutions, to address the gathering.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavet. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. And may those who are free set others free. So you saw a couple of videos just now, isn't it? The first one which you saw, that fellow, the driver of the auto, depicts a monkey-like mind, which is very mischievous, very frivolous, very naughty. The other rich man was standing, touching the car because he was very tired. He was just breathing heavily. But this fellow helped him push the car down the valley so foolishly. Similarly, when the mind is not controlled and if it is very frivolous, it can do anything in an unpredictable way. And second video which you saw is quite understandable. Depending on what inputs we have given to our minds. Your mind can be like a garden full of blossoming fragrant roses. Or our mind can be like a garden full of thorns. It depends on what inputs you give to your mind. Like a professor Mr. Venkatesh was speaking so beautifully in the beginning. We all feed the mind with so many things, and then the mind becomes made up of that eventually. So this boy, he always tends to be very negative about everything. He thinks the lightning thunderbolt will strike me down, or a lorry will knock me down, or I'll fall off the cliff, or a meteor can fall on my head and destroy me. So many things like that. So that is one of the reasons why many people in the modern times don't get good sleep at night. Because when they lie down at night, there are so many dreams and thoughts and anxieties and fears, longings and dreams that keep, flowing in their heads, and they can't get a good night's sleep. And when night you don't get a good sleep, your head is heated up in the daytime. Naturally, you will function erratically. So therefore, this is a very important topic, as Professor said. He gave a very beautiful introduction. So managing the mind menace. Please go ahead. Yeah. You see, one famous author said this: we are all spiritual beings with a human experience. Everyone is potentially divine. You see, the Vedas teach us a very important lesson, that everyone is potentially divine. Nobody is bad. Everybody is good, but they have become covered over by bad. Just like, imagine one of you come into your room and everybody is plugging their nose and saying, "Oh, nasty, get out of the room." Will you not feel very uneasy? Why you are asking me to get out of the room? Probably they are unhappy not because of you, but the socks you are wearing. It may be foul smelling. But once you remove the socks and wash your feet under the tap and come in, there is no more bad smell. Similarly, the soul is divine, but it is covered by some impure covering, which is called the mind. So the impurities are stored in the mind, just like in a computer hard disk, some programs are stored. Like that it is stored. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati grihitvaitani samjati vayuh gandha nivashayat. He's telling, just like a vayu, wind carries sugandha vasanas and durgandha vasanas. Similarly, the mind also carries good impressions and bad impressions from one place to another. Sometimes you go in the train. Sometimes there's a garden full of jandu flowers or jasmine flowers. So a very nice smell is carried by the wind and comes to your nose. You feel very pleasant. On the other hand, sometimes the train is passing through a jungle. Some animal has died. Some nasty smell is carried by the wind. When it comes to your nose, you plug your nose, you don't like it. Similarly, our mind also carries good and bad impressions. So, you all can see it yourself. You can take a look at yourself. That is actually called self-awareness. Self-awareness means go outside your body and look at yourself. What type of person you are? Are you an angry person or a loving person? Are you a greedy person or a satisfied person? Are you an arrogant person or a humble person? Are you a person who belittles others or are you a person who respects others? Are you cruel? Are you compassionate? So every one of you can watch yourself. If you can't watch yourself, you can ask your friends, your parents, your teachers, your circle of colleagues. They will tell you what is the nature of your behavior. We can have peer feedback, superior feedback, self-feedback. Based on the three feedbacks, we can know what type of person we are. So that is the makeup of our mind. Some people by nature are very cheerful and friendly, kind, courteous, compassionate, and helpful, selfless. And there are yet other people we see, they are very selfish, they're arrogant, they're proud, I know it all syndrome, they have that kind of attitudes. And you don't like to get near them, you want to keep away from them. So therefore, our mind is filled with Sugandha Vasanas and Durgandha Vasanas. That was the first thing I was telling you. So now as you see here, the yellow one is you, the real you, the Atman or the soul, which is covered by a subtle covering, just like you wear a banyan and a shirt over it. Similarly, the Atma is wearing a subtle body and a gross body over it. The subtle body is the mind, and the gross body is the Panchamahabhut, earth, water, fire, and ether. Why do you need to know this? Right in the beginning, I'll tell you. Without knowing this, most of us tend to think that mind is the ultimate thing. Mind is not the ultimate thing. Mind is simply covering over the Atma. And the mind can be purified. That's a good news for you. It's not that once the mind has taken an impurity, it is gone forever. It's not like that. Like you see, the rainwater is pure, but when it touches the ground, it becomes muddy. That doesn't mean it's always muddy. You can put it in a desalination plant and again make it pure water again. So, therefore, the goal of the seminar is not to frighten you with the impurities in the mind, but the goal of the seminar is to share some tips with you by which you can cleanse the mind and uplift the mind, and how to make your life more successful by gaining some control over the mind. That's the purpose of the seminar. So now you get an idea. Like you see here, the Atma is coming out of the body. So Atma is different from the body. In fact, the Atma is the driver of the body. You are not the body, you are the resident of your body. Just like a car and driver, there is a difference. Driver is the Atma and the car is the body. This is the very first thing we should know. Any religion you take worldwide, whether it is Sanatan Dharma or Christianity or Islam, they all talk about spirit which survives beyond death, which is answerable to God after death for all the good and bad activities that we have done. So we are different from the body, and then surrounding us is the mind, intelligence and ego, and then outside the gross body. Go ahead. Next. Yeah. Our mind is like a book. So let us assume that every one of you sitting here, say you live 100 years. So in each year you have 365 pages chapter. One chapter has 365 pages. Which means one day is like one page. So let us say one of you is 20 years old. That means 20 chapters are over. Another 80 chapters are blank white pages. That's the good news for you. You can fill up those pages very legibly, nicely. But the 20 chapters which you have finished, look back. How did you fill it up? It may be scribbled, it may be illegible. So can any of you say, how do you fill up this book of your life? How do you fill it? With what do you fill it? How do you write the book of your life? Yeah. From morning to night, how do you spend your day? By thinking, by speaking, and by acting. Is it not true? That's how you fill up this book. So think about the way you think. Think about the way you speak. Think about the way you act. Are you acting in proper way or not? That's how you filled up the book. Go ahead. Next. Go ahead, next one. You can see man has become so powerful, he can even control a lion or a tiger, or even an elephant. He can make the elephant sit on a stool with all the 4 legs. Appears that the man has conquered practically everything, including the nature. It appears like that, isn't it? But you will see that man has failed to control his own mind. See next. You can see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Trividam narakasyedam dvaram nashanamatmanah kama krodha tata lobhastasmat etatrayam tyajet. Arjuna, there are 3 gateways to hell, Lord Krishna says. Lust, anger and greed. And what is lust? Adamant desire for the prohibited things. That is called as lust. There are certain things we know it's not good, but we, at any cost, we want it. For example, without smoking a cigarette, you will not die. Actually, by smoking cigarette, you get lung cancer and die. But still, there are boys who will not give up smoking. You will see similarly, when you drink liquor, you get liver cirrhosis. When one has illicit sex, one gets, 25 sexually transmitted diseases. Still people go for it. That's called lust. Lust means adamant desire for that which is prohibited, not good for us. Even if you know it's not good, still people do it. And greed means wanting more and more of it. Lust means I want. That's lust. Greed means I want more. That is greed. And anger means if you don't give me, I will shout. That is anger. That means when lust is not satisfied, becomes angry. When lust is satisfied, becomes greedy. So basically the problem is lust. And we have to remove the lust from the mind and replace it with love. We have to remove the cruelty from the mind and replace it with compassion. We have to remove the arrogance from the mind and replace it with humility. Heart transformation is the goal of education. The primary goal of education. Goal of education is not profuse information. Goal of education is heart transformation. And heart transformation happens how? By cultivating good habits, by cultivating good character, by cultivating good behavior, by cultivating self-control. When you say the word self-control, some people, they frown. They don't like it. Why do you talk about controlling our senses, controlling ourselves? We want a free life. But if you very carefully observe, when you want to do anything good in life, there has to be self-restraint. Like you have a gas cylinder, it has got a regulator. Is it not true? Similarly, a flood doesn't do any good. But when you have a dam, then the dam can do some good because there is a restraint of the water in a dam. Therefore, dam can do some good. Similarly, if you cut the plants with a trimming with a scissor, then the garden looks very elegant. Otherwise, we don't trim, plants grow in all directions. So anywhere there is no regulation, nothing comes out good. Even when you want to send a kite up in the sky, do you cut it and throw it in the sky? You have to keep a spool and slowly regulate it. That means you keep control. Where there is control, there is victory. Where there is no control, there is failure. There has to be restraint of what we should do and what we should not do. One has to think about it. Therefore, human being means look before you leap, not just do it. Just do it is for animals. Do you know that? Animals act by instinct. Humans act after thinking. Think twice before you act. For example, Hare Krishna, if I'm walking, I should look first. If there's a manhole open here, I should look first. Oh, there's a hole. Then I should walk like this. Not that without seeing, I just walk like this and fall into the manhole. And then suddenly, then I look around. You understand what I'm saying? So, therefore, vision first, action next. Think twice, act next. So those who do like that, they have self-restraint. So we can see this lust, anger and greed, LAG. That's what makes you lag in life. You don't lead in life. Why do we lag? Because of lust, anger and greed. He says there are the three impurities in our mind. Just like the virus is occupying a computer. It really makes the computer hang or it makes the computer malfunction. Our mind is also like a computer. Like a hard disk or something. It malfunctions because of three great enemies. So Sir was telling about Ravana. He was suffering from lust. And he was telling about Duryodhana. He was suffering from greed. So you find that lust, anger, greed has been dominating the heads of these asuras or demons. Now all of you, wonderful students, you are not asuras, you are all wonderful people. But we all have experienced that these three enemies dominate our minds also. And they have to be removed. We have to know how to remove the virus. If you remove the virus, then you are truly happy. Next. Yeah. If the mind can be controlled, or it may be left to itself to do whatever it wants. See, for example, you board a Uber car or a Ola car. When you sit behind, should the driver take you to the destination that you decide, or he will decide the destination on his own? What do you think? You decide, correct, no? Similarly, as soon as you sit in the Uber car, he is hearing some cinema music which you don't like. You can tell him to stop, because you are the passenger, you have the right to say that, hey, don't put this music, I don't want to hear, I want to do some work, and take me to this destination. That means he is listening to you. Your mind should be like that. You should tell the mind, this is nonsense, don't do this. This will degrade you. Then mind obeys you. And if something is good for you, tell the mind, take it. It's good for you. Then the mind should obey. That means mind is under your control. You are called as a ghost Swami. Go means senses, Swami means master. But if you tell the mind, please take me to a temple, and the mind takes you to a liquor shop, that means mind is not in your control. So all of you ask yourself, is your mind your obedient servant, or you are servant of your mind? Ask this question to yourself. Is the mind catching you by the neck and dragging you to do what you don't want to do, don't intend to do? That's what Arjuna asked. Atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. Krishna, anichannapi, इच्छा ना होने पर भी, without my desiring, baladiva niyojitah, my mind is pushing me to engage in things which I don't want to engage in. Why is that so? What is the cause of this? Krishna said, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo gana samadbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. Arjuna, the reason why you are being pushed like this is the Kama and Krodha, he said. Lust and anger. That's pushing you to act like this, which means you have to cleanse it. Mind is like a mirror covered by dust of the impurities of lust, anger and greed. Take a wet cloth and you wipe the mirror, then you can see the face very clearly. So in today's session, you will learn many valuable, practical, easy to apply tips on how to do that cleansing. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, yeah. Yeah, next. Yeah, go ahead. One more. Yeah, mind can be used it's like a knife which can be used by a surgeon to save someone's life, or it can be used by a thief to kill someone. Next one, yeah, like you see here. It's a right use and wrong use. So you can also put your mind to right use and wrong use. See, mind is undoubtedly very powerful. It's like it can be a very powerful servant who can help you, or it can be misused also. Go ahead. There is one verse which says, Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayo. Mind can free you, liberate you, or mind can bind you. Just like a chabi. If you take a key and do like this, the room door opens. Or you take the same key and do like this, then a person is locked up inside. So mind can lock you up, or mind can free you. Mind is like a key. So the choice is yours, how you use the mind, how you train the mind. Actually, training is most important. Next. Yeah, please keep going ahead. Yeah, more. These are all, the uncontrolled mind leads to these things, which I don't have to tell you much, you know it. Go ahead. Next one. And these are the results of action. Actually, people commit suicide themselves, or they murder others, or engage in rape, or they break the TVs, burn the houses, or when they get depressed, they get into many bad habits. Okay, now you see, here is a Kathopanishad gives this beautiful example. My request to all of you to pay attention to this one thing which will be a turning point for you if you learn this example. This very nice model is explained here. Like you see, here is a chariot driven by horses. These 5 horses are compared to your 5 senses called Jnanendriyas. Your eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. These 5 are compared to 5 horses. And the rope which is connected to that is compared to the mind. You can move some more buttons, it will come. These are 5 senses, that is mind. And the driver is the intelligence. Intelligence is superior to the mind. And mind is superior to the senses. And then the passenger sitting is the soul, which is you. So your body is compared to chariot. You all understand this analogy? Your body is chariot, you are the passenger, your driver is the intelligence, and the ropes are the mind, and the 5 senses are the horses. So, if the intelligence driver is strong, then he can control the mind. Then the mind can control the senses. So this is the way we bring about control. Now, how do you strengthen your Viveka Buddhi, intelligence? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives a lot of tips to Arjuna. You implement these ideas, you can very easily control the mind. So by studying Gita, like Mahabharata, Ramayana, like for example, Chanakya Niti, all these things are extracted from the scriptures. Scriptures give very, very valuable wisdom. So learn that and control the intelligence and the mind and the senses. One after another, they will all get controlled. So we have to strengthen the intelligence. If driver is very weak, he will let the horses loose in all directions. What is the problem with the modern day students? They get very good material academic education. But when it comes to the wisdom of the scriptures, how to manage our minds and the senses and our life. What are the habits we should cultivate? So this is some area which is very greatly lacking. See, you can live with a body without hand or without leg. Can you live with a body without head? This spiritual wisdom is like the head. Without head, no one can live peacefully. Therefore, the whole society is in a state of big turmoil. So this example, go ahead, next one. These are all stored in the mind, optimistic or pessimistic approach or comfort zone, imagining negativity, preconceived notions. These are all bad scripts of the mind which are changeable scripts. Go ahead. Now here is an example of man who is uncontrolled. The horses are uncontrolled and they are driving him mad. And you can see the driver's situation. He's a weak driver. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, how do you change your habits? By changing your mental scripts. Go ahead. See, habit is such a thing. Even if you remove H, a bit remains. If you remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it remains. So therefore the habits die hard, we say. But it is not impossible to give up the bad habits. It is possible to cultivate good habits. So we have to replace bad habits by good habits. Go ahead. Next. See, one by one the solutions are coming now for you. One of the first solutions you learned is strengthen your Viveka Buddhi, intelligence, by studying the wisdom literatures. And by that you can control mind and senses. One thing already I told you. The second thing is said here, is you see, Gigo principle. Good in, good out. Garbage in, garbage out. So what you put in your mind, that's what the mind munches. If you are putting dirty things in the mind will munch dirty things. Like for example, somebody seeing a blue film, then the mind will be munching on the blue film. And then surely it will impel the hands and legs to do wrong things and one will become a criminal. On the other hand, if you are feeding pure things to the mind, you hear a devotional song, you read a devotional literature, you watch a devotional movie, you went to the temple. So you're putting pure vibrations, sattvic vibrations. Then accordingly your speech, your actions, everything will be determined. Jaisa man, jaisa anna, jaisa man, it is said. What type of food you eat, that affects your mind. What type of food means 5 types of food. Through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. What things you see, what things you hear, what things you smell, what things you taste, what things you touch. These are the things. Yeah, go ahead. See, from here you get the mental scripts. These are the things. What type of novels or books you read? Do you read some dirty cinema magazines or do you read Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, that kind of books you read? What books do you read? Similarly, what friendships you keep? What type of music you hear? Like doctors say, the 120 decibel rock music, it causes a disturbance in the biological rhythm. It actually disturbs the whole bodily system. It's like putting a person in rickshaw and toppling the rickshaw. But many people don't know. So therefore, what music you hear, what movies you watch. So these are the inputs to the mind. From here comes the lust, anger, greed, which I told you before. Next. Yeah, go ahead. Next one. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, here is one more method, third method. First I told you about strengthening intelligence, then I told you about the Gigo principle. Watch what you are feeding to the mind and senses. Here is another principle. Man means the mind, tra means freedom, mantra means that which gives freedom to the mind. I have a research thesis with me. I can leave a copy of it to Dr. Venkatesh. It is a Harvard University research on by Dr. David Brian Wolf on the chanting of this mantra. So it's a doctorate thesis beautifully presenting with 1,000 students. They have analyzed what happens when they chant, how this chanting cleanses the mind. So they have said this Hare Krishna mantra is like a virus scanner and virus remover of the mind. It can help you cleanse the mind. It takes you to Sattva Guna. Go ahead. Next. Here is Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder, Acharya of ISKCON Society. In 1965, he went to the Western world. So there he found many hippies were drug addicts, They were smoking, they were drinking, they were into all kinds of dirty things. And he went and sat in the midst of them, playing the drum and singing the same Hare Krishna mantra. The very famous recording you might have heard. And he transformed all of them within a period of 1 year. And so much so that even American government was amazed. The government said that they were not obeying the teachers, they were not obeying the parents, they were not obeying the government. But when they chanted this mantra, they became cleansed in the heart. So this is another method for cleansing the mind. Just to sing it or chant it, and you can try it yourself. Next. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna was approached by Arjuna with a very important question. Chanchalam yamana Krishna pravati balavad dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayo divasudushkaram. He says, Krishna, his mind is like an elephant, very difficult to control. So when I heard the elephant, I was amazed because is elephant good or bad? If you ask you the question, it's difficult to answer because you have seen elephant behaving very good also. It gives ashirvad, it accepts a coin from you. Sometimes the elephant keeps you on its back also. Sometimes the elephant lifts the trunks of wood for man. It works very well with human beings. It's a friendly animal. You can walk an elephant on the road very nicely. But can you walk a lion or tiger on the road? You can't walk. But elephant it's a tameable animal. Therefore, mind is compared to elephant. But if the elephant is not tamed and trained, the mad elephant can break the cars. It can lift the bikes and throw in the air. With the tongue, it can kill human beings. A mad elephant is uncontrollable. It's very mighty and powerful, but uncontrollable. So Arjuna told Krishna, the mind is exactly like an elephant, untrained elephant, like an untethered bull or elephant. So Arjuna asked, how can the mind be controlled? Similarly, it's explained here, our senses are like venomous serpents, they want to loosely act. Serpent is very difficult to catch. Similarly, our senses like the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and hands, legs, they all run in different directions. So how can they be controlled? Just like the snake charmer plays the one instrument, that? Like that plays. So you also, the chanting or singing of the Hare Krishna mantra which I showed, it's like a snake charmer. Playing so the senses become calm, cool, collected and cleansed. Next. Go ahead, next one. See, here is a great secret revealed. There are 6 urges that you should control. And there are other urges which you should not control. For example, if you feel like passing urine, nobody should control it. You should pass it. If you feel like passing stool, nobody should control. You should pass it. Because mala in the body should be removed. We should not keep it. Whereas these 6 urges, if you control, you will be the king of the world. Or you are a queen of the world. You will see. If you control these 6 urges. What are they? Vacho vegam manasat krodha vegam jihva vegam udaropastha vegam etan veganyo vishageta dhiraha sarvam api imam prithvim sashishyat. See here. If you control the speech has to be controlled. Why? Our tongue has no bones, but we can speak something with the tongue by which people can break our bones. If we speak something improper. So we have to control the tongue. Speak fitly or keep silent, Pythagoras says. So control the urge to speak. And secondly, many of you students, you will see that your time gets wasted in chatting and gossiping with other friends. Sometimes arguing with friends, debating with friends, fault finding in others. So by controlling the tongue, you conserve a lot of energy. Because your tongue and mind are connected. If you speak pure things, then the mind becomes filled with pure things. If you speak bad things, then mind becomes filled with bad things. So, and those who restrain the tongue will have more mental energy and physical energy to be able to spend it in the right way. First one is urge to speak. Second one is mind's demands, which are already talking about. Mind has to be cleansed, I told you. Third one is anger. Anger also makes you dissipate a lot of energy. You see, if you conserve your energy, you will be more powerful. Conserve your energy and spend your energy very usefully. Anger actually leads to adrenaline secretion, which increases disease in your body. In fact, when you become angry on somebody, they don't suffer as much as you suffer. Therefore, we have to learn to restrain the anger. So should we suppress the anger or should we vent out the anger? Both causes diseases. If you suppress also, it causes internal diseases. If you vent out also, it causes diseases. Then what do you do with the anger? So anger is an inner emotion that comes out in a great urging way to answer some inner call. Maybe your value is being tested. Then how do we bring it in a civilized way? So therefore, one has to learn always to cultivate the habit of maturity. What is that maturity? Boldness versus sensitivity. Courage versus being considerate. Listening to others, understanding them well, and then speaking. When you cultivate this maturity, then you will be able to manage your anger. Angry emotions can be managed, surely. It's not impossible. One has to practice it. So the Krodha Vegam also has to be managed. Like you look at the boss, who is suffering in that? Is boss suffering or the subordinate suffering? Subordinate is an incompetent fellow. Boss is wild. So both are suffering. Instead of shouting at the subordinate, you can better get him trained. Or better change his department to another department, rather than wasting time like this. See this fellow, this is fourth one is Jihva Vegam. See, Jihva, Udar, Upastha. The tongue, the belly and genitals are in one line. So one has to control the tongue. Then one has to control the belly. And one has to control the genitals. What is the meaning of that? One should not eat junk food at very tasty foods in big proportions. One will get obesity. And one also should control the belly. We should eat moderately. All of the students, you may be knowing, Chanakya says, Vidyarthi chet tyajet sukham, sukham chet tyajet vidyam. He says that if you are going to eat too much and lead a very comfortable life, you will go to sleep. You will not have the energy. Eating is done to gain energy. Energy means the capacity to do work. So therefore eat moderately. 50% of the stomach you eat, 25% with water, another 25% you leave it free for digestion to happen. But most people eat so much that unless the rice comes from the nose, they will not stop. They overeat. Don't overeat. And the last one is urge for the opposite sex. You see, the man-woman attraction is a very strong principle in this world. When our mind is impure, this attraction becomes even more very stronger. And because of this, many people are ruining their academics. In the college days, because of getting into romantic affairs. Ideally speaking, there is a time for everything. When one has to marry, one can marry at that time. When you have to study your academics, study your academics. So, but if one is going to be careless in this habit, it can go from a handshake to abortion or anything in between. And it is all due to the devilish mind. So, go to the next one. And Chanakya Niti, 8 things Chanakya says a student should do. Kamam, Krodham, Lobham cha, Swadu Shangara Kautuke, Atinidra, Atiseve cha, Vidyarthi, Hyashtam, Varjayet, he's saying. A Vidyarthi, you all are Vidyarthi. He's saying 8 things you should avoid, he says. Kamam, he says, as I told you just now, lusty activities. Krodham means becoming excessively angry unnecessarily. Lobham means unhealthy comparisons and feeling inferiority complex and all those things. Shringar means going to beauty parlor to decorate oneself. Don't waste time, he says. Nowadays there is men's parlor also nowadays. In those days there was women's parlor and there is men's parlor also. And Shringar, Swadu is saying, for eating out in a hotel, don't travel 20 miles. He says. Kautuke means standing in the road and watching who is going, who is coming and wasting time in that, he says. Atinidra is a famous one. Don't sleep too much, he says. Atiseve means watching TV 8 hours, playing cricket 10 hours. That is atiseve, means excessively indulging in pleasurable activities. So these 8 things if a student avoids, Chanakya says he'll be a successful student. So you have a clue here. Actually, all these 8 things will help you to control your mind if you follow this. Next. Hare Krishna talks to Arjuna. Go ahead. Yeah. There are 4 types of thoughts mentioned here. There are positive thoughts, negative thoughts, routine thoughts, and wasteful thoughts. So the positive thoughts are valuable. Routine thoughts are also valuable. But the negative thoughts and the wasteful thoughts, they both have to be removed. They are no good. They occupy a lot of your time. You waste a lot of time in them. Like, what if the exam paper is going to be tough? What if I don't crack the exams? You always live in fear. That takes a lot of your mental energy. And you think of the past. If only I got 10 marks more, it would have been nice. If only I fared in the interview well, it would have been better. So you always think about the past and think about the future. Therefore, the bird of the mind is flying with two wings, past and future. Cut the two wings, the mind will become calm. So that we always fill our mind with wasteful thoughts. Worry may bury you, we say, no? That is the wasteful thoughts. And negative thoughts are no good. They all increase our stress and impurity in the mind. Go ahead. Here you can see two people, their minds are filled with different things. Impure mind and a pure mind. Go ahead. Next. Go ahead, next one. Next. Here is another 5 tips Lord Krishna gives. The austerity of the mind. This is a very great secret revealed in Bhagavad Gita. Mana prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityet tapah mana samuchyate. He is saying, first one, mana prasada, cultivate satisfaction, he says. Opposite of satisfaction is greed. Like he says here, Chanakya says, 3 things you should be satisfied with. Santosha trishu kartavyo swadare bhojane dane. He's saying, be happy with your own wife. Don't run behind another man's wife, he says. Secondly, he says, be happy with the food cooked at home. Don't eat in a hotel, you will get stomachache. Because in the hotel they cook food for commercial purpose. At home, they will cook with love and give you. Eat at home. Swadare bhojane dhane. Dhane means whatever money you earn that fits your pocket, in that only spend it. Don't take loans, he says. Otherwise you will always be miserable. See, such simple tips he is giving. And then he is saying, Santosha trishu kartavyo sadare bhojane dane trishu chaivana kartavyo swadhyaya japadanayo. 3 things you should never be satisfied, he says. What are they? He is saying swadhyaya means in learning the wisdom, never become satisfied. Just like Steve Jobs wrote a book called as Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. That means for knowledge, you should always be thirsty for gaining more knowledge of the scriptures. Stay hungry and stay foolish. Always say that I am foolish, I want to learn more. Never adopt a mode where you think, I know it all. I know it all means foolish. One is not intelligent. So therefore one should always be in the mood of learning. Swadhyaya, japa means in chanting the holy names of the Lord, which makes your mind very calm, cool, collected and creative. Never set a limit. Wherever you get time, you chant. You are in the bus traveling, you can chant. You are in a park, you can chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is no restriction. You can chant in the night, you can chant in the day, any time of the day. Swadhyaya, Japa, Danayo. In giving charity to God and God's people and also to the sick, needy and poor. No, don't to fear, I shouldn't give too much. If you give, God will give you more. The more you give, God will give you more to give. So he says, what you should be not satisfied, what you should be satisfied, he is saying. Sir, I can finish in another 10 minutes, is it all right? 1 o'clock I can finish? Okay, thank you. So the second one is Manaprasada Saumyatvam. Saumyatvam means simplicity. Second one is Maunam. Manaprasada Saumyatvam Maunam. Maunam means silence. That I already told you. Useless talk should be avoided. Fruitful talk should be accepted. We should learn to speak fruitfully. In Gita, Lord Krishna says, Anudvegakaram vakyam, don't speak in a way agitating to others, he says. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam, speak the truth. Priya, speak sweetly. Hitam, speak beneficially. Swadhyayabhyasanam, study the scriptures and speak, he says. Vangmayam tapa uchyate, this is the austerity for the tongue, he says. So if you cannot speak like that, he says, be silent. He says, that's the second thing. And don't do rumor mongering, don't do gossiping, don't badmouth about people behind their back, don't sweet talk on face and badmouth on the back. So let us not do those things. Don't get into useless debates. So you're a student, do your duties peacefully. So he's saying silence. And the third thing he says, Manaprasada Saumyatvam. Swami told me simplicity. Keep your mind simple like an innocent child. You will always be peaceful. But if you keep our mind like Mantara, who was polluting Kaikeyi, or if you keep our mind like Shakuni, who was always politically disturbing Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, then our mind can never be peaceful. We should keep our mind very simple and straightforward and not make it duplicitous or politicking type of mindset. And frivolous speech should be avoided. Yeah. And then fourth one, manaprasad samyatvam maunam atma vinigraha, that is self-control. So, in our society, ISKCON society, we follow four principles. Dyutam panam striya sona yatra adharmas chaturvida. There are four activities called as adharmic activities. What are they? It says illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex before marriage or sex outside marriage. Both are condemned. But man, woman can marry and live as husband and wife. That is allowed. But man, woman having sex before marriage or sex outside the marriage relationship is prohibited. That is illicit sex. And meat eating. That means killing the innocent creatures and other creatures like cows, goats, and all those things. One should avoid himsa to other creatures, poor creatures. And intoxication like smoking, drinking, drugs, these should be given up because these things are agents which cause more damage to body and mind. And fourthly, gambling causes enormous tension to mind. Gambling means big money or no money. Mind will be in great tension. So avoid these four activities. They are four adharmic activities. Then your mind will be peaceful. You can see that. So when Prabhupada went to America, many professors asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, how is it your disciples have a bright face and they are chanting, dancing so happily? And Prabhupada said, because they are following these four regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna, so they are very happy. Because these good habits, if you cultivate, you will see a big difference in your life. Because when you avoid meat eating, that is mercy. When you avoid intoxication like smoking, drinking, drugs, that is austerity. And if you avoid gambling, it is truthfulness. And if you avoid illicit sex, it is cleanliness. So M-A-T-C, and H is holy name. Match. Remember the match formula. M for mercy. A for austerity. T for truthfulness. C for cleanliness. H for holy name. Do this and see your life will be totally different. Such simple things you can apply in your life. And mind will be immediately calmed. And then the last one is sanctification. How can you sanctify your mind? Act selflessly. That is one very interesting shloka recently I heard. Paropakaraya bhahanti nadya, paropakaraya duhanti gauva, paropakaraya phalanti vriksha, paropakaraya idam shariram. Very simple meaning. The trees are giving mangoes free of cost. The river is giving water free of cost. The cow is giving milk free of cost. None of them charge anything. Some man comes in between and asks for money. But they don't ask money at all. So because all the creatures created by God are doing freely, you also learn a little bit of selflessness in your life and think of good for others. As I told you in the beginning of my class today, I told you, may the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. And those who are free set others free. So we all should become healing cells in this world. And remove the cancer cells in the world. And who are the healing cells? Those people, sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu, whose consciousness is always thinking in terms of how to make all living creatures, children of God, happy. We don't see who is a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Parsi, Sikh. We don't see difference. These are all external coverings over the soul. The soul is same in quality in all the bodies. That's called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one global home in which all living beings are children of God with one supreme God in the top. And God also will be called by different names like Surya you call, Dinakar, Bhaskar, Ravi, Surya, so many names you call, Suraj. But the sun is one, similarly God is one. And we all are children. So everybody has a right to live. And everybody should let others live also. So therefore, that is sanctification of existence. Go ahead. 2 tips Arjuna was given by Krishna immediately after that question on Chanchalami Mana Krishna verse. Krishna says, yes, it is true, Arjuna, mind is difficult to control, but not impossible. Do these 2 things, he says. One is Abhyas, another one is Vairagya. 2 things he told him. He told him that asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Show that See, by practice makes a man perfect. There was one boy studying in a Gurukula. His teacher told him, "You are a dull head, get lost. We can't keep you in the Gurukul. We have been giving you a chance several times, you didn't make it." Now this boy on the way back, he saw one lady was drawing water from the well from the ground. And the ropes were going over the stone and it was making an impression. Immediately it clicked the boy's mind. He went back to teacher and said, "Sir, please give me one more chance." And he was given a chance. And this boy went on to become Kalidas. You know that? By repeated practice. So, shloka recitation, if you keep on practicing, you can become an expert shloka reciter. So, our memory is like muscles. You can actually expand your memory by repeatedly exercising it. Good habits also, you cultivate it, you will get it. Even scientists say that 51 days you do a good habit, then it will become a second nature for you. So, all habits are cultivable and mind is cleanable. That's the first thing it says. Like forest pathway is formed by repeated walking. Such examples are given. Next one. Detachment. What is detachment? Some amount of vairagya we have to cultivate, like sleep early, rise early. Many students keep awake till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, which is not good for the health. You can go to the YouTube channel, you will find out why top-notch CEOs of the entire world rise before 4 a.m. and they sleep before 10 p.m. at night. The 10 to 2 is a very vital time for you to sleep. That is the time many secretions happen in your body, pitta and other secretions. 10 o'clock, 10 at night to morning 2 is a very vital time, 4 hours. Once you sleep well in that 4 hours, then day will be very fresh for you. All day you can be very brisk. So you can find out from YouTube about why top-notch CEOs get up at 4 a.m. There is a video, 4-minute video you'll get. So have a habit of sleeping early, rising early. And in the early morning hours also there is ozone which is very healthy for the body in the morning hours. If you do pranayam, if you do yogasanas, if you do chanting Hare Krishna in the morning time, our mind gets concentrated very easily. Mind is more like a wet cement. You can create good impressions in the mind. Mind is reliable. Once the daytime becomes 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, mind starts wavering. Imagine you take a lens like this and try to focus and do like this. You can't focus if you shake the lens. But when the mind is calm, you can get concentration in the morning. And you chant, mind gets cleansed very fast. Even I noticed it when I went to Aligarh. One ocean beach I was watching. In the early morning hours, it was throwing out so much of dirt. And the daytime, the water was going up and down with the dirt. It was not cleaning. Then the fisherman told me that the early morning time only the ocean throws out the dirt. Same time in Brahma Muhurta time. Even natural phenomenon we see that. So if you want to clean the mind, the early morning hours are very conducive. Yeah, even singers, athletes, and they all give up something in order to gain something. So we have to give up some of the old unwanted bad habits which are unconducive for cleaning the mind. So that's the point of vairagya says. Go ahead. Next. Yeah, go ahead. This we already finished. Yeah, go ahead. Next one. Next. This is one more thing that Krishna says to control the mind. Another technique. Like you see this tortoise, sometimes it is taking the head and hands and legs inside. Yada samdharate chayam kurmogani vasarvasha, he says. Which means like a tortoise, he says that when there are dangers for you, temptations for you, you withdraw yourself, he says. And when there are no temptations for you, like for example, when you go to the temple, you can ring the bell, you can bow down to God, you can take darshan with your eyes, you circumambulate the pradakshina and all, you do everything. You use your senses in Lord's service. But when you are going in the outside world, there are so many tempting environments, polluting environments, so we don't unnecessarily let them loose. Especially nowadays, number one problem for the youth is internet pornography. It is a well-known open thing. From the 8th standard, 8th, 9th, 10th standard onwards, students are keeping their smartphone and polluting their heads, putting so much garbage into the head, and that is going to be extremely detrimental for their habits, for their character, for their future. So, if you chant Hare Krishna, follow this regulative principle, lead a clean life, these habits will go away very easily. So where there is a tempting environment, don't succumb to it. Withdraw yourself like a tortoise, they're saying. Similarly, there may be eatables which are not good for you, don't eat them. Withdraw yourself. There may be things which you should not see or eat or hear, you should avoid. Once there is one period is free period, professor has not come, and students hang around talking, chatting, useless talks. So withdraw yourself from there. How? Go to library, sit with some book, do some fruitful work. Huh? So, there, go ahead. Next one. Yeah, next one. Okay, I completed. Thank you. I can take 5 minutes question answers. Yeah. So, I give very simple examples. So, to make it easy for the students to understand, this is the way I speak any of my lectures. I hope you could capture it. Only thing is, I was busy with another very vital international program the last 2 days. So I couldn't put the solutions in a pointed format like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So any of you remember one solution today, what you heard from me, that will give me confidence that I could do some justice to you. If you are not able to answer, then I'm a very bad teacher. I didn't teach you well. That's what I'll understand. Any of you remember one solution, what you learned today? You raise the hand, I'll give you the mic.
Yeah. Anybody? Students.
Anybody can remember one?
Anyone of you? You want?
Actually, problems are easy to say. Therefore, I'm not asking you about the problem. But I want to hear one solution that you learned. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Swamiji.
Hare Krishna, sir. Yes.
I am Murthy here. I am Professor Murthy. There is a need for conditioning the mind with positive thoughts and controlling mind. And you have given so many tips in that direction. But really, it is a great challenge. In this direction, do you feel that meditation or self-hypnosis can play a role in controlling the mind or conditioning the mind?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. So I was telling about the chanting. Chanting is, see, you don't have to go to Himalayas. You don't have to stand upside down and plug your nose. Those things are difficult for us. You can be a student in a college and still chant Hare Krishna at college or home, anywhere you are. It's very, you sit in a park, just with your own fingers you can count. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just do it for a week. Every day 108 times. It takes you 10 minutes only. Do it for a week and see. If you don't get any result, you give it up. What loss is there for you? Just for 1 week, 10 minutes a day. You ever tried? It will make a big difference for you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah? Any of the students, any one point? If you are shy to speak in English, you can speak in Kannada. Somebody will translate for me.
Sir, there was a solution called Abhyasa and Vairagya.
Correct.
And that is where we have to practice and we have to detach ourselves from the wrong things.
Correct. Thank you. Give him an applause. What's your good name? Yeah, Sharad. Thank you, Sharad. Thank you. Sharad is the first one to boldly stand up and speak one solution. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to try?
Hare Krishna Guruji. Myself, Masum Shivas, I'm from BCA third semester.
Yes.
So one thing that you have told that mind is like a bird. So the two feathers, like positive and the negative one, if we are going to cut it, then it will become a calmness. That is one of the...
It's the past and the future.
The past and the future.
Correct.
So if you are going to cut it, then it will be
come
a
to
calmness.
rest.
It will be the
Very
calmness.
true.
And the second thing is early to bed and early to rise. That is one of the most important things. And doing pranayam and yoga and all this is really boost up our mindsets now. Thank you.
Thank you. So, how do you cut off the past and future? Learn to do one thing at a time. Sleep while you sleep. Eat while you eat. Study while you study. Play while you play. Don't mix one activity with another. When you lie down, don't worry about tomorrow. Similarly, when you are studying, don't fall asleep. So do one thing at a time. Then the past and future can be cut off. You can be in the present and absorb in that activity very well. Thank you. Good point. Anybody else would like to try one more point? If you raise the hand, the mic will come to you. Huh? Anybody? I said plenty of things I told you. Is there any hand up that side? You remember five points about the mind I told you? 5 S's. Mana prasad, samyatvam, maunam, atma vinigraha, atma samshuddhiriti, tapamana samchite. Those are very 5 important solutions. Anybody? There is one hand up there. Please give the mic to them. Hand.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Listening the positive things or listening the positive songs may help us.
Correct. That means the mind has different type of inputs. So 2 inputs you have said. One is the positive songs you said. What other inputs lead to Gigo principle? So one of the things is the songs. Anything else you remember? I showed 4 or 5 items I showed. What is good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. And so in that, what are the different items? One thing what you said is correct. The music, I said. Anything else? Mic. The mic you can take. The mic. Give her the mic.
Chanting.
Yeah, chanting also. And what type of books we read, what type of novels we read, or what type of movies we watch.
Motivational things.
Yeah. What type of friendships we keep. All these things are inputs of mind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Any other hand is up anywhere? This side there are a couple of hands up. This side. Can the mic be brought there? I can raise a hand. Mic.
Hello, Prabhuji. My name is Krishna Kant. I have few questions about chanting. Could you please tell us more about chanting and what should be the minimum chanting as a first starter?
For first starter, 1 round is enough. It takes 10 minutes only.
Okay.
And that can be done any time of the day. But preferable is morning.
Okay.
The morning, immediately after taking bath, if you can sit down in the puja room and take the mala. The mala is not there with fingers also, you can do just like we do Gayatri, we do. So you can do total 108 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Like that again, 10, 10. When you do 10, you fold 1 finger here. After 10, fold like this. 50 are over. Then again, when you do 10, 10, release 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 100 will be over. Then do 8 times. So totally 108 times. If you do, it takes you 10 minutes. Try for 1 week. And you will definitely see mind becoming calm, cool, collected. And you get maturity to think before you act. You will see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for
Thank you.
suggestion.
Thank you. You know the mantra, no? You know the mantra? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Correct.
Prabhuji.
Correct. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Like the talk is about controlling the mind. All I learned is like the great words of you was like literally remembering the Supreme Soul by Mahamantra or anything it is. So what I learned indirectly is like when you say Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it includes Rama and Krishna.
Correct.
You indirectly
Pray to them.
tend to follow the footsteps of Rama, not Ravana or anyone who misleads us. So blindly following the Supreme Soul, which is like shown by the Guru, we go into good way.
Right.
Even without our own actions, we tend to do good things.
Unconsciously.
Unconsciously, we do which is good for us.
Correct.
So I learned is like remembering the Supreme Soul or like doing charity, being selfless, not going into physical like temporary things. We may be successful. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. You said very nice things. Sir. Very good. What's your name? Nice points. Yadru? Guru Prasad. Thank you, Guru Prasad. Brilliant. Thank you. Anybody else? Many of students recollected many good points. Very nice. Nobody said about the 3 enemies in our mind, which are the root cause of all problems. Anybody knows? What are the 3 root enemies? Lord Krishna says as 3 gateways to hell. And there are hands up there. There are 2 hands up there.
Hare Krishna Guruji, my name is Anabhay Namdar.
I am doing MBA. Three enemies are lust, anger, and greed.
Great, correct.
Yes, I have a question regarding greed. You told greed means I want more. But we are in such a competitive world. If we won't go for more and more things, I'll be left out of the competition or nobody will value me. So how can we overcome that? Or should I be in a competition or should I just go like my life should be in a particular way?
Like ambition is good, but over ambition is not good. Huh? For example, if I have a Maruti car, economic speed is 80 kilometer per hour. But if I drive it at 150 or 200 kilometer per hour, is it good? I burn out the car, correct, no? Similarly, as a human being, if you are working for say 10 hours or 12 hours a day, it's all right. But imagine people working for 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day, is it good? So we burn out our body. Then where is the happiness? We find that we earn a lot of money, pocket is full of money, but there is no happiness in life. People actually compromise on relationships. There are families where husband and wife both are working. They work 16, 17 hours a day they work. And they have no time for their children. They have no time for each other. They have no time for God. They have time only for money, making money. So they made money into God. Is it good? So that's a very greedy family. So on the other hand, I wouldn't tell you that you should be lazy, because even Lord Krishna did not advocate laziness. He told Arjuna that get up and fight the battle, he told them. So every one of his students here, MBA students, you have to certainly do your job, earn some money. But there are three duties of any family person. There is family duty, professional duty, devotional duty. Family duty to the family members, you should give some time. Then you have to give some time to profession, give some time to God. Actually, giving time to God is ultimately beneficial for you only. Ultimately, if you see. God doesn't need anything. Actually, we need Him for our own good. So, it's like a tripod. Family, God, and profession. If you remove one leg also, you can't be happy in life. It will fall off. Therefore, greed means what? A person who goes headlong in money making without caring for family or God. That's what we call as greed. Is that all right? So you agree there should be a balance? Like, we don't agree with going for 103 degree Fahrenheit or 104 Fahrenheit. That type of fever is not good for us. Nor do we say you bring it to 0. We say bring it to 98.6, which is a good balance, material spiritual balance. Is that all right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There was one more hand up behind her. Somebody else also raised the hand, actually. Yeah. Yes. We will take one last point and we'll conclude, okay?
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
Sir, I'm very fascinated about the book concept, how life is a book and how consciously we should live every moment and make it a book. But my question is about inferiority complex. You mentioned inferiority complex, and how do you propose to overcome inferiority complex?
It's very easy.
Insecurity.
It's very easy to overcome it. I'll tell you how. Why we feel inferiority complex? Because we make unhealthy comparison. A fish is expert in water, but Einstein said, if a fish looks at a monkey and thinks, I can't do tree climbing, then he will feel inferiority complex. But the monkey is supposed to do tree climbing, fish is supposed to fly in the sky, a fish is supposed to swim in water. Everybody is a hero in their own field, isn't it? So you should find out in your own system, which one are the 7 type of intelligences you may be aware. Slimbil, SLIMBIL. Slim, S for spatial visual. You may be a great artist. L for linguistic. Some of you may be knowing 4 or 5 languages. I for interpersonal, which means you are very good in connecting with people. SLI, M stands for musical. You may have musical intelligence. Sarigama Padanis and all that. And B for bodily kinesthetic. You may be good in sports. And I for intrapersonal, you may be philosophical, and you can talk life concepts very well. And L for logical mathematical, you may be a very great mathematician. And there is one more 8th one added to that nowadays called naturalistic intelligence, which means you are, eco-friendly. You also talk about it. You live a life like that. So amongst these 8 intelligence, every one of you think which of these intelligences is prominent in you, and you invest your time, energy in enhancing and developing in that field, you will never feel inferiority complex, because that is God's gift for you. Like a cuckoo can coo very sweetly, dog can bark very nicely, horse can run very fast, the eagle can fly very high. So everybody is given naturally gifted ability by God's grace. Because we are unaware of their talent, therefore we feel inferiority complex by making wrong comparisons. So understand that you have a unique gift. Identify it. That's called Varnashrama, we call it. Like a Brahmana. For example, I am a teacher of Gita. In my 5th standard, I had a desire that I want to give my life for studying Gita and teaching Gita. But my parents didn't allow me. They told me that first you should become an engineer or a doctor. Anyway, for their happiness, I did that. After my engineering, I worked for some time as a scientist. Then I asked them, my sisters are all married and settled. Then I took permission from my parents, got their blessings, and then I joined my 1991, I was connected. 1994, I joined. Ever since I joined, last 30 years, I am traveling. I can tell you, till my last breath, I can do this service of going to colleges and schools and giving lectures like this. And even if I have to take 1,000 more lifetimes, I can do this activity. Because this is what gives me thrill. So, if you can find out your own USP, unique selling point, what is your unique talent that is Krishna's God's gift for you, then you will never feel inferiority complex. Is it all right? Thank you. You know, once upon a time, a crow felt inferiority complex. I am black, my voice is not good. So he went to a cuckoo and said, "Oh, cuckoo, look at your voice, how sweet it is. Coo, you make such sweet sounds." Huh? Then the crow said, cuckoo said, "I am also black, you are also black. Maybe my voice is a little sweet, but I am also not very happy in life." Because a parrot is very beautiful. You see, parrot has a green body and red color beak. He's more beautiful. Then he went to the parrot and asked, "Are you happy?" Parrot said, "I am also not happy." He said, "Why?" "Look at my wings, it is so small like this. Look at peacock, how beautiful wings he has. He dances very beautifully with the wings." So then the crow went to the peacock, who was in a zoo. So the peacock was also very depressed. And the crow asked him, "Why are you unhappy?" Peacock said, "Although I am the most beautiful bird, I can dance very beautifully. Therefore they have captured me and put me in a zoo. As far as you are concerned, nobody will catch you." He told the crow, "You have a freedom to fly everywhere in the world, so you are more fortunate than I," he said. Now the crow became very happy, came back home and told his wife, "Now I have no more inferiority complex. Now I am happy that even a peacock appreciated me," he said. So everybody has uniqueness by God's creation. Every one of us sitting here, you have unique face cut. Similarly, you have a unique mindset, you have unique talent. In water, the tortoise is a hero. On land, rabbit is a hero. So therefore, you have to know what kind of situational leader you are. In which situation you are leader. Find out that, you will never feel morose in life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Swamiji, I am Venkatesh here.
Yeah.
We are extremely thankful to you and grateful to you. You have delivered an excellent speech, especially stopping this mind menace, just not managing. I have a small point where I need your inputs, please.
Okay.
The mind of either the students or faculty or anybody is not easy to focus.
Yeah.
When we try to focus, there will be always lots of other thoughts coming in the way.
Correct.
Whether it is academics or singing a devotional song or whatever it is. Can you please throw some light on how to focus like a single pointed devotion of maybe Lord Hanuman is the greatest example.
Correct.
Can you please throw some light on that, please?
Correct. You aptly quoted the example of Hanuman, because the monkey is such an animal who is always a disturbance provider, always. When monkey comes, anybody takes a stick and drives away the monkey because it snatches the bananas, snatches the spectacles and all. But the only monkey in the world who is calm, cool, collected is Hanuman. He just sits in one place like this because Hanuman is calm because he's chanting Ram Nam. Therefore, he's very calm. So, therefore I told in the lecture, the chanting of the name of the Lord cleanses the mind. And a clean mind comes to ground level, very calm, cool, collected. Sattva increases in the mind. Otherwise, when the virus enters the mind, just like in computer also, when the virus enters, it just goes crazy like this. When there is no virus, computer functions normally. So that's the reason I was emphasizing on the chanting. And besides the chanting, I can also tell you some more things I can tell you. Like, if any of you sitting here is eating meat, please don't get me wrong. You have your freedom to eat meat. Who am I to stop you? Huh? I can tell you the good things, but the choice to eat or not is in whose hands? It's in your hands. Huh? But I will tell you the scientific truth. There are two kinds of hormones: endorphins, adrenaline. So in the medulla oblongata and cerebrum, you all know, here there is something called an endocrine orchestra, they call it, here behind. So from here, you will find that if you are either violent or fearful, adrenaline secretes. And that's why people get a stiff neck and a back pain. They get, especially computer working people often, if you work for too long hours. So you will see that when you are cutting an animal, the animal is initially very fearful. But later on, the animal becomes violent to escape from your hands by attacking you back. That is violence. So according to Gita, Hare Krishna says, fear means tamaguna and violence means rajoguna. So the rajoguna and tamaguna, when they arise, that is the time the adrenaline secretes in our body. So violence leads to anger and criminal activities. And fear leads to insecurity and envy, things like that. So because when we eat those products with adrenaline, then we also cultivate those swabhavas. We cultivate. But when you eat vegetarian food offered to God, it's very mild, like you drink milk, you take vegetables, fruits, cereals, spices, this kind of things. They're very mild natured, and by eating them, your nature also becomes very mild. So ahara shuddhau, sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddhau, dhruva smriti. Dhruva smriti lambe grantinam vipramoksha. This is a verse which says in the Vedas that by eating pure food, your mind becomes pure, your speech becomes pure, your actions become pure, and just a purified life is liberating you very easily. So till now I told you one important point, which is the mind, which is the food. You can have a calm mind by the type of food that we eat. That's one thing I told you. Another thing, we should not see the two powerful distractors for the mind are the eyes and the ears. Two powerful distractors. That's why all the advertisements you will see in the railway station, if you are standing, washing powder, Nirma, they put a song. And immediately when you hear it, you turn in that direction. Then they will put a movie also there. Amongst all the senses, the eyes and ears are the distractors. So those people who are really keen to get concentration and focus in life should control these two senses, especially eyes and the ears. So when you do chanting meditation, gradually close your eyes and hear the sound. Gradually the eyes and ears, their inputs become purer and purer. And again, mind becomes calm because the inputs are pure. So we should watch what type of inputs we are giving. Agitating inputs should not be given. So now we are living in the age of WhatsApp and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. And every time you find these things are beep, beep, beep is coming again and again. So we should have some restraint in that. Some people have a habit that in a day, only this many hours I will be with my smartphone. I will not spend beyond that. Smartphone has looted all our time, if you see. So it is also, we all are cultivating how to be more and more distracted. Instead of cultivating concentration, we are cultivating distraction. So therefore, I don't use a smartphone at all. I only use a button phone still. The reason is because it swallows a lot of my energy time in that. Therefore, I tell people, you write an email to me, I'll respond. In a day, I reply 50 to 60 mails, I reply generally. But in email, I can choose to reply at a time when I want. Whereas if you have a WhatsApp or Facebook, it just keeps coming and you are forced, impelled to watch it. Correct, no? So if you can restrain in usage of such gadgets, then mind can be largely, very easily controlled to a large, to a great aspect. Mind can be very easily controlled. The modern day people's minds become vulnerable because of too much of media explosion, the social media interaction. It becomes more and more and more very vulnerable. And also, these principles which I told you, like for example, we should do things in a regulated way. Like, sleep early, rise early, have time for meditation, have time for jogging, time for some exercises, time for prayer, then reading at least one page of Bhagavad Gita every day. Then morning time you do it. Because morning is of the day, is like the head portion of the day. If you do well, then the whole day will go very well. We can be actually brisk the whole day doing something very meaningful. Actually, in my channel, I have put two time management seminars, time management 1, time management 2. If as soon as you go, you will find something called as behavioral science for youths. In that, there are almost 90 lectures are there, 85 to 90 lectures will be there. In that, you will see time management 1, time management 2. We are teaching a new type of time management in that, which you might have probably never heard before, based on 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So if you learn time management that way, you will be suddenly surprised to see you can make ample of time in a day. You can save from time wasters, and you can get abundant time for fruitfully spending in constructive activities. All right, sir. So,
Thank you very much for all your inputs, Swamiji.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I also want to thank all the students who are still sitting beyond the time of the lecture, which goes to show their sincerity and their enthusiasm and their eagerness to learn the subject. Just as Dr. Venkatesh spoke in the beginning, the students are inspired by a good leader like this. So I'm very happy to see all of you. My sincere prayers to Lord Krishna for every one of you, so that he may fulfill all your earnest desires. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guruji. We are blessed with your enlightening thoughts. Today we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely guide all of us. Thank you once again, Guruji. I now welcome Professor Hemant Uppala sir, Vice Principal of DSC ASC, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon all. On behalf of the management of Dayananda Sagar institutions, I wish to thank you, all of you individually, for attending this program on understanding the menace of mind. On the onset, I wish to especially thank our speaker, Sri Radheshyam Dasji, for sparing his valuable time enlightening the young minds. Thank you very much, Guruji. We are really indebted for your presence. I wish to thank our beloved secretary, Sri Gali Swami sir, for supporting us in all our endeavors. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to thank Sri Narhari Chaitanya Dasji for gracing this occasion. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Nagaraj Shanai, and Dr. B.R. Venkatesh, Director, MBA, for sharing the dais on this occasion. Thank you, both of you, sir. Our special thanks to Dr. Rani and other disciples who coordinated well to make this event happen on this auspicious day. Thank you, all of you. I would like to place my sincere thanks to all our HODs, faculty members, and students who attended this event with keen interest. Thank you, all of you. Also, our special thanks to the technical team for extending their technical expertise. Finally, we would thank you all for supporting for the successful organizing of this event. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you all. I take this opportunity to thank today's anchor, our student, young student from first semester MBE, Miss Mahati Arkanath. Give her a round of applause, please. Now, the last, definitely not the least, while leaving the auditorium, there is a special arrangement made by our ISKCON for distribution of Lord Krishna's prasadam. Please do receive and have it, please. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.